All right, we should be live and at it. What is going on, family? Welcome to the show. Let me make sure. I just want to check in with everything and everybody. Make sure we good. Sound check. Yup. All right. Hold it on 1 second. Let me get this information here. We good there. All right. About doing everything live. Here we are. Make sure y'all can hear me. We good. All right, look, I don't want to be before everybody long. I really just wanted to kind of hop in as promised, kind of talk about, growing a business from the bottom up, right? Really going from the bottom to the top. Definitely gonna get into that, but let me start this here, right? So the purpose of today, right? I really want to ask this question: like, how do you start, grow, and maintain a business when you grew up in an environment that wasn't conducive for that type of mentality, right? Like, you grew up in an environment that didn't give you access to business information. It wasn't talked about in the home. It wasn't talked about amongst your peers, right? Like, how do you start a business when you just grew up in an environment that just didn't offer you that type of information? And if you're wondering specifically what I'm talking about, yes, I'm talking about the hood. Like, what happens? How do you really start something legitimate when you grew up in the hood, when you grew up in the slums, right? Like, we all know that's not the best environment for a lot of things, but it's also some of the best individuals have come from it. So how does it happen? Well, that's what I'm going to talk about in today's training. I'm going to show you exactly what you need to know to start a legitimate business, right? And how to avoid all the common traps that we run into, because, no one ever told us what to do when starting a business, right? And trust me, I'm raising my hand. That's me. I had to learn a lot of things the hard way, right? So definitely tune in and make sure that you're going to want to watch this until the end, because not only am I going to show you 3 things you need to do to start a business, I'm also going to show you the exact steps that I did to start my business. So go hit the intro video. When we come back, we're going to get right into it. Let's go. Hey, what is going on, family? It is your favorite uncle cousin. I had to find the button so I can put my title up in the screen. Your favorite uncle cousin, Tyrone Gregory, the self-employed tax guy. And if this is your first time here, do know that I appreciate you being here. For those of you, this ain't your first time here and you back, welcome back. You know that I love you being here. I love your energy. And even if you're watching the replay, thank you for watching this video. And if you missed the intro again today, specifically, I am talking about how to start a business when you grew up in an environment that necessarily didn't teach you how to start a business, right? Like, if we look at some of the more wealthier people, we understand that wealth and understanding of finance and businesses, that is passed down from generation through generation, all through conversations and teachings and things like that. But if you grew up in the hood, if you grew up in the slums, maybe that wasn't a part of your conversation at dinner, right? Maybe how to start a businesses and the principles and the things needed to start a business and understanding the disciplines and financial understanding that we have wasn't part of your daily conversation. So then when you got to the point where you wanted to start a business and you knew that it was something you could do, you're like, man, well, how do I do it? And so a lot of people start, and unfortunately, it doesn't last long because there's a lot of things missing. So that is something that's dear to my heart. So we're going to talk about that today. right? I got about maybe, hopefully, a good 30 to 45 minutes worth of content that I'm going to get to in this training, and I'm going to hold the Q&A to the end because I definitely want to focus right in on this content. And speaking of, right, training to the end. Today's training is going to be brought to you by the Self-Employed Business Academy right there, right? If you ever really wanted to know how to start a business without, as you can see right here, is it like right there, it says right there, right? Without an LLC, because that is, oh my God, like, whole different subject right there. But you can start your business without an LLC, right? So definitely go to the Self-Employed Business Academy, our sponsor for today. Get your free, you see it right there, get your free business launchpad plan. There's only 6 points. It's a single sheet. You can get that and we'll be good to go. So, all right, like I said, I'm gonna get to this content. I only got a few seconds before you. I don't want to be long. So let's go ahead and make sure that we get to it here. And this is what we're talking about today. How to go from the bottom to the top. Very simple. So it's only 3 things you need to do. And the first one you need to do is this. Forget about the Joneses. And put myself right here. Again, my whole purpose of this video today is to give us an understanding of what is required to start a business that is going to go beyond the statistics, right? Because our government says, statistically speaking, that most businesses that start will fail within 2 to 5 years. And there's a specific reason for that, right? Like there's a reason why businesses start and don't fail is because they don't understand the core principles and requirements of starting a business. And the first one is this. We cannot keep up with the Joneses. And this is important for us individuals coming out the hood, who's coming up from the bottom to the top. Keeping up with the Joneses is something we try to do because that is an indication that we made it, right? It is when you have all of these nice things and you're able to say this like, yeah, look at me, I made it. But the problem with that is that it's not true. And I get there's a lot of people that do what they call lifestyle marketing, right? Like they'll show you the Lambos and the Range Rovers and they'll be like, yeah, look at me, I made it. And they do that because what they're selling is how they got there. I'm not knocking it, I'm not mad at it, right? But it's not how it started. I really want to make that clear. When you're starting a business, you're going to have to make a sacrifice. And I'm really speaking, especially if you already started your business, you may have to switch some things up. And here's what I mean by this, especially because we'll start with this, right? Like you'll think like, okay, I made this. This here's what I made. So this is what I have to spend. And that ain't true, right? You may have made this, but after your expenses come into play, maybe you have this, right? You kind of see where I'm going here, why we don't want to keep it with the Joneses, because you'll start with this, but you know you have expenses. It costs money. It takes money to make money. So after you spend that, you'll have this. And here's where I say we're going to have to make lifestyle changes, because even after you have expenses and you get, you're only left with this, one thing that's not talked about in our environment, in the hood and the slums, is taxes. Yeah, because you may be like, okay, cool, I started off with 100, I still got 50, but that's not true. Because then, after taxes, you only got this. So this is the true number that you're living off of, right? Yes. Hold on, as you started, you earned this. This is what you initially earned with it. And the problem that that we have, because of that we're not taught, is that we think that we get to keep this. We do not get to keep this after everything is said and done. This is what we started with, but we end up with this. This is what we're working with. This is what we're going to have to spend. This is what we should base our living off of. And so the goal is to develop everything. Put this here. Forget about keeping up with the Joneses, right? Because keeping up with the Jones will have you spending all of this, all right? And here's the problem with that. You'll say, you know what? I earned this. I'm going to spend this because, well, I deserve Gucci, Louis, YSL. I deserve everything, right? It's a sign that I made it. Why? Because I earned this. But what's happening is, even because you have not spent, you haven't spent the expenses, you haven't paid the taxes, that don't mean it went away. So if you are spending based on this, what you're doing is creating debt. You're snowballing your debt, right? Because technically, remember, after everything is paid and done, you should only be living off this right here. But if you're living off this right here, you're overdoing, you're creating debt. You are snowballing your debt. And what happens when it catches up to you in the end, now you can't afford to pay this $20,000 note that the IRS says that you have, right? You can't afford to pay this $60,000 sales tax that the states is coming for you, right? Why? Because we were too busy trying to keep up with the Joneses. And it doesn't work like that. And I'm saying all of this to say that we are going to have to put together, especially when we're starting a business, we are going to have to get or put some sacrifices in play. Let me show you this here. I want to show y'all, move this money out the way here. I want to show y'all something. I'm going to show y'all my humble beginning. Like right now, yeah, you see, I'm in a, office. It's decent. It's cool. But it didn't always start this way. And again, I'm showing you being transparent with you because, again, we didn't have business conversations at my dinner table. We didn't have financial conversations at my table, right? So I had to learn a lot of this the hard way. And trust me, I've made a lot of mistakes. This isn't the first business that I've started. And I've wasted so many countless of thousands of dollars not knowing what needs to be done and trying to keep up with the Joneses, thinking like, yeah, okay, I made this money. Let me go out here and spend it. Right. I remember, and my wife can bear witness. We first met, we balling. I'm taking everybody out to dinner. I'm paying for the tab on me. We $5,000 a night meals. Why? Because I didn't pay taxes. If I would have paid taxes, it'd be like, no, y'all gonna have to pay for yourself, because I ain't got that much money. If I would have known about taxes. But instead, because I thought that in my mind that I earned it, this is mine to keep. I didn't know that I had to pay Uncle Sam in the back end. End up being a tax bill. So let me show you. Let's walk down memory lane with your favorite Uncle Cousin right now. This is how it all started. This is the room in which this current business, the self-employed tax guy, which is the self-employed tax company, this is the room in which it all started. You can see it's very simple. Some laptops. I always had laptops, right? So I had the two laptops there, MacBook in the corner. I bought some of them cheap. I think I was on Amazon for maybe like $50. Bought some of them foam wall covers and sprayed out on the wall. You can look at the window over there to the right. Notice there is foil on the window, because I was trying to get the lighting right for the videos. That's how it started here, okay? And then as time progressed, you can see here where now I have all some of the equipment. The camera I always had around because I used to take pictures for the kids a lot. Then I kind of set it up as to get a desk. But notice my lights. Look at those lights, man. They are just some $5 scoop lights from Home Depot. I bought like some little filter paper from a photography store to kind of give it a diffused look, held together with some clips. Like, look at the lights, like pay attention to the fact that my lighting, my setup, my studio was put together real cheaply. $5 scoop lights from Home Depot, held together by some clothesline clips, all right? And one of my most popular videos, the You Don't Need an LLC video, right now, that one on YouTube has over 600-some thousand views with it, was made in there, was made right there. The video that was the catalyst, the video that was the start to everything that we're seeing now started right there in that studio. And I'm telling you now because I learned this late. I learned that, I gotta sacrifice. If I'm going to be in business for the long haul, I have to invest into the business, not into myself. I can give a damn about the Joneses. I don't want to keep up with the Joneses. The Joneses ain't doing nothing for me. But previously, I did try to keep up with the Joneses, and I failed tremendously. Let me continue to show you some more down memory lane. Here's another picture of the setup. Again, man, look how everything was in there. Studio, apartment, not a studio, just a regular 2-bedroom apartment. Me, wife, and the kids we in there. As y'all can see, we got the laundry basket in the corner. The desk was there. The camera I already had for some years, but because it had a video setting on it, I was able to record some videos. Again, humble beginnings. This was everything. I used to keep it in the corner. You can see, again, I had those foam little things all over the place, but just look at it. It wasn't nothing fancy. I had a roll of studio paper that I used as my backdrop, put that on to something, just rolled it from against the wall. Just, again, very inexpensive stuff that I started with. And this one here, it's funny. I took pictures of it because I knew one day that I was really going to have to show somebody, like, man, it didn't always start this way. It didn't always, I just didn't come out the gate and was automatically self-made. No, it didn't start that way. Y'all look at this, man. I'll put this back on the screen here. I tried to convert my living room because the bedroom wasn't big enough when I was trying to do some other stuff. So I tried to create some sound dampening things in the living room. So I went to a fabric store and I got a bunch of fabric that was thick enough and just tried to hang it around the living room so I could do some studio, do some videos because the room was getting small and I wanted to be more animated. But look at the setup. Hung some blankets up around the living room, that good old cheap lights, and the camera I already had. And again, I'm showing you all this because the first step to starting from the bottom and moving up to the top is sacrifice. That is the first step. We have to, and I'm talking about for us who grew up in that environment where material things equated to success, right? And everything we do it to try to prove something to somebody that we don't even like, right? Just so we can say we the first that had it, or look at me, I'm better than you. But if you want to have a business, we got to start at the bottom. We got to make those sacrifices, right? So when we look at this is how I started. Okay, and even still today, don't get it twisted. Your favorite Uncle Cousin. I'm not, driving around in Range Rovers and things like that. I don't want to, not yet, because I have a plan. Everything is systematic for me, right? Like, I took this picture this morning. I wanted to show y'all. Let me put this back out of here. This is my vehicle. This is currently the truck that I am driving right now today. A 2005 Toyota Tundra. And this is from my construction days. I've had this. Remember, if y'all know my story, I started off in construction. That's why you got the little scrapes and bruises on the side, because this truck has been through some things with me. I absolutely love it. And as long as it's running, I'm going to have it. But guess what? I ain't got no car note. No car notes. Me and my wife, our car is paid off, been paid off, and we just keep the maintenance on it to keep running. We good. I'm not trying to impress Nobody, right? Like, yes, I spend money, but I don't spend money on things to try to impress people. Look at my truck. It's just a regular old truck. It ain't nothing fancy. And I drive it to work proudly every day. Every day. Look at this. I'm going to show you. Put this out here. This is the windshield is cracked. As of right now, the windshield is cracked. That is a crack in my windshield. And it's there right now, today. But guess what? I don't care. Honestly, you know what? You can talk about it all you want. I ain't trying to impress nobody. But here's the thing. When I'm talking about starting from the bottom and working our way up, the windshield cost, I'm going to say about maybe $200, right? Like, I got a quote on it. I was like, okay, yeah, I'm going to get my windshield fixed just in case. They said it'd be $200 to fix. I was like, oh, okay, I can put it off. But guess what? I'm going to show you this. So instead of spending $200 on the windshield, I went and spent $800 on the mic. I went and spent a couple of more $100 on the mixer you see there. I went and spent some more money on the lights. So this is the current view right now. This is what I'm on right now with this video is what you see right here. I have the two lights here. I'm looking at you in that camera. The Rode mixer that's right there to the right of your screen is right here to my right. I'm using the Stream Deck that you see right there. That's all that I invested the money in. And you may be thinking like, man, you wouldn't spend $200 on fixing your glass. No, I didn't, but I definitely spent some money investing into my business because that's what's important, right? I'm not trying to impress people. I'm not trying to keep up with the Joneses. I can care less about the Joneses because they ain't do nothing to me. But what I am going to spend money on is the thing that is going to make me money, right? Like if we go back and we look at the videos that I did when I first started off, when I was in, when I was here, right? Like when I was here, the video quality was cool. Like I said, one of my most popular videos came from inside of that area. All right, but you can go back and see the quality now. It's definitely different because as I improve, as I get better, my business has to improve and get better and things like that. And even still, I want to show you this too. When I moved into the office, this is where I started, at the desk. Just had the computer, the screen, had the Logitech camera up there, had the iPad that was there to use as like a third monitor to help me do some things. That's how it started. And like I said, now, here it is. I got the two cameras, which is the Sony A6400s up there, the lightings, the mic, and I am good to go. So that, in essence, is the first thing that you need to do when you're starting from the bottom to the top is to not try and keep up with the Joneses. Please understand, when you have money, you may start with this, but you're going to have to set your lifestyle based on this. And I know it seems just irritating to your soul, but once you set your lifestyle based on this and you can get over the fact that you're not trying to keep up with the Joneses, you are going to build. And so what happens is the more you reinvest in your business, the more you live within your means, the more you become used to setting this budget, eventually this will turn back into this. You see what I'm saying? Like, yeah, you start with this, budget for this, but then this eventually will turn back into this. And that, my friends, is the goal. So let's move on to the next one here. Let's get it here. So when you go from the hood, you want to learn about business. And here's what I mean by that. We stated that, yeah, we didn't grow up in an environment where business conversations wasn't taught, right? We didn't know about the 70-30 rules. We didn't talk about compounding interest. We didn't talk about assets, liabilities. We didn't talk about cash flow, balance sheets, income statements. Like all of those terms are unfamiliar to us. So if we want to be good at business, then we're going to have to learn about business. if we can sit up here and become proficient in learning sports, learning hood politics, learning everything else, then we can take that same energy and become proficient in learning about business. And so all I'm suggesting is that you, one, invest. Remember I say you are going to want to invest in your business. Invest in some online courses, right, that talks about business. We talk about our sponsorship, the Self-Employed Business Academy. That's somewhere you can start. Invest in books, right? You can even go on YouTube. There's so many people, and obviously including myself, talking about business. But your key is to learn as much as you can about business. You want to start getting used to the terminology that business says. You want to know, even if you're not doing it yourself, even if you're not the one that's going to be doing your books, even if you're not the one that's going to be doing your accounting, you still want to be able to understand the terminology that the bookkeeper or the accountant is using. Because what you don't want to do is be like, you know what, I don't even know, just here, I'm going to pay you for it. Because you never know who's trying to get over on you. We've heard about it. I've read the stories where, people unfortunately don't know how to do something, so the person just kind of robbed them. You don't want that. I'm not saying that I want you to go up here and get like some sort of PhD in business overnight, but I do want you to familiarize yourself with the business aspects. And some of the things you definitely want to learn is, one, the finances of the business. You know me, I always say, run them numbers. So definitely when it comes to learning about the business, know your business numbers. The first thing you really want to know is about cash flow, right? Because we talked about the difference between all three of these, right? You may start with this one, have this one, but really end up with this one. But if you don't understand cash flow, you're not going to know how that works. Another thing you want to know is like analysis, right? What is your break-even analysis in business? How do you know, like, okay, if I have X amount of products and I'm charging X amount of dollars, at what point am I going to break even? Understanding profit and losses, understanding that, oh my goodness, there's so many things about business. Understanding your target audience, understand the difference between sales and marketing. I know a lot of people like to say that they're both the same things, but obviously they are not. They are very distinctive, different things, and you have to have a strategy for both, right? Learn as much as you can about business. Invest in time about business. Get you some business books. Read about business. I mean, there's so many that I can recommend, but just pick a business book. One that's going to, there's so many, like Profit First. That one tells you about your finance books. I'm reading that one, which is pretty good. Oh my goodness, there's so many books out there. I'm gonna have to just put a list together, curate a book for you, but get some books. Learn about business. Take some courses, right? And here's the thing. All of those are tax deductible, right? Because you're investing in your education that's going to help you sustain your business, which has an economic purpose, which means it's tax deductible, right? So therefore, when you are investing in learning about your business, you actually get to write that off. So every course that you enroll in that's going to teach you about business, well, you get to write that off as either legal or professional consultation, or you get to write it off as education. But it's you're investing in your business, because what you don't want to know or what you don't want to do is not know anything about what you're doing. Running your business is the smallest part of running your business. And I know probably some you probably get him on your way home, but the business side of your business, the product or service, that is the smallest part of your business, which is going to lead us to the next topic of what we need to do when it comes to our business is get right. And here's what I mean by get right. This kind of goes back into learning about your business, right? When you get right, which means you want to make sure that you are in compliance with all of your local and federal ordinances. Starting a business takes more than just getting your product, getting your paying customer, and have them pay for it. Obviously, right now, don't get me wrong, that's technically the only two things that you need to start a business is you need your product and or service, and you need a customer who's willing to pay for it. And once those two things interact, then you have a business. That's technically it. But once that happens, there's other things you need to do. One, when we talk about getting right, you want to make sure that you have your business bank account set up, right? Because you don't want to commingle any of the business funds. That is the goal. You want to try to separate it as much as possible. Even if you are a sole proprietor, you want to separate what expenses were business, what expenses were personal. And the reason you want to do that is because eventually, when we talk about starting from the bottom, going to the top, your business is going to transition at some point, and it may become a corporation. You may want to, at some point, be an LLC, have a taxes and S Corp. Well, you're going to know how much of your money have you put in there, because that's going to become your basis. Off top, when we get into that, that's a whole different subject, but you want to do that. So again, getting right. Make sure that you have your business license. The whole idea of getting right is to make sure that you are in compliance. You don't want nothing coming to bite you in the end, right? Especially for my people who deal in retail and wholesale. You sign up for this wholesale license, you sign up for your reseller's license, you sign up for your seller's permit, so you can go down there and you get these things at wholesale and you don't pay taxes. Well, the minute you do that, you are automatically on the radar of whatever agency that is. So because you have a wholesale license, they are going to assume that you have a business where you are selling retail and collecting sales tax, and now they're going to send you a bill. They say, hey, well, you got a seller's permit. On your application, you said that you have this type of business, and based on industry standards or the industry averages, we're going to assume that you did X amount in sales, and based on that, here's the amount that you owe us. Well, if you were doing everything right, again, get right, if everything was being done right and you were tracking everything, then you can sit up here and you can say, yeah, your assumption is incorrect. Yes, we did have sales, but we didn't have as many sales as you did, or maybe we had more sales. So getting right is, like I said, first of all, register, get your business license. That gives you permission to operate within that jurisdiction, because you don't ever want to start your business and then have them tell, well, you don't have permission, so you got to stop operations. Cease and desist. Don't want to do that. Get your business bank account. Get that set up so you can separate everything. And then if you want to, go further, I would suggest get some sort of bookkeeping. Keep it simple, right? Start with Excel. Start with pen and paper. Then go to one of these online. There's so many online bookkeeping. Me personally, y'all know me. I use Zero. That's who I'm a fan of. Not an affiliate for them. Not trying to promote, but that's just who I use because I like them. There's always QuickBooks, there's FreshBooks, there's Wave, I think it is, or Waves. One of them, there's so many options out there. And the only thing you want to do is be able to track everything. Get right. All right? That's that. And then finally, so before I go to the final thing, let's make sure I summarize everything right. So in order to start your business from the bottom to the top, one, don't keep up with the Joneses. Let that go, right? Set your budget. If you make money, pay your taxes, pay your expenses, base your lifestyle on the actual what's left over after everything has been paid. Don't build debt. Don't snowball in debt. Don't start with the debt. That's the first thing. The second thing you want to do is, once you get right, is learn about your business. Invest in learning more as much as you can about your business. Take some courses, right? Like hop on YouTube, just type in search terms, right? Type in cash flow, type in profit and loss, type in break-even analysis, right? Watch some videos, do some, just learn about the business, learn the vocabulary needed, so when you're talking to people that you're getting ready to pay them for, the conversation can be a lot better. The understanding is a lot better. And then thirdly, after you've not tried to keep up with the Joneses, after you've learned about your business, you want to get right. You want to make sure that you are in compliance with all of your local, state, and government ordinances and agencies. You want to make sure that you have all of your tax accounts set up. And you just simply want to make sure that you are following the law of the land, okay? And so, as promised, I want to make sure that I show you exactly, we talked about getting right, how I did it. Easy. So now I'm gonna show you exactly. Well, I kind of showed you. Right? I showed you how I started off, right? We kind of go back to it, man. Kind of go back to this original. We saw this. This is how I started my business. Humble beginnings. How I started it, man. I love this picture. I think I'm gonna frame this and put it somewhere because this is how it started for me. But one thing I didn't start as an LLC, right? And I say that because I started a lot of businesses as corporations, paid thousands of dollars to have people form a corporation for me because that's what I was told I needed, because that's what they said, you know, if you don't do this, then your business would fail or your business would run into trouble. And, you know, I'm like, okay, yeah, I don't want my business to fail. I don't run into trouble, so let me spend all these thousands of dollars. And guess what? My business failed anyway. Regardless of how many thousands of dollars I spent, my business failed anyway. And so that was a lesson to me, like, people just want your money, and they're going to tell you whatever you want to hear to get your money. So this is how I started. Because I'm here in Los Angeles, right? I went down to the county clerk recorder office, filled out the application to do what's called a DBA. So here's what I'm suggesting for those of you who are literally just starting from the bottom. If you're at the very bottom trying to get to the top, here's how I did it. And this is how I'm currently doing, because I'm still on my way up. I'm not going to say that I've arrived yet. There's still a lot of things in my playbook that I'm working on, a lot of milestones that I'm doing. But I started as a DBA, which stands for doing business as. And the reason I did a DBA is because a DBA allowed me legally to sit up here and say, this is Tyrone Gregory doing business as in the eyes of the public. I didn't have to get an LLC. I didn't want one, especially here in California. They very expensive, okay? So I didn't want that. So I started as a DBA, got the DBA, went and got my EIN, took my EIN, went down to the bank, and the U.S. Bank is the one I use because all the major banks, Chase, I can't stand Bank of America, Wells Fargo, and I even think I tried a couple of credit unions, but they wouldn't necessarily do a business account in my credit union, at least not then, they didn't. The other ones, all these fees, right? You had to have all these fees. U.S. Bank was like, give us $100, boom, you got an account, bam. So went there. Then once I got the business bank account, of course, put some money in it because I went and did my research. I know I need a website. Got a website because we are in that age. People are going to go to the website. They're going to search. If you don't have a website, they're going to question. They're going to question your credibility. Are you real? Are you a legitimate company? You don't have a website? So got a website. And then again, as we can see here, I started with the content creation. Okay. But then also, and it could be because I'm in taxes that I understood the importance of paying taxes, quarterly estimated payments. At that point, I started to say, okay, every quarter, I would sit down and be like, how much did I make? How much did I spend? And based on that, this is how much taxes I'm going to have to owe. Okay? That's what I did. I really would sit down every quarter and be like, okay, from this period, let's say we're in the first quarter. So I would say from January 1st to March 31st, right? That's the first quarter, January, February, March. January 1st, March 31st. Within that time frame, how much money did I make? How much money did I spend? That is going to be my net profit. Based on my net profit, this is how much taxes I have to pay. And I will set that aside and I'll be like, okay, this, let me grab the money here. Let me grab the money. And I will say, this is what I'm left with. And now that I know this is what I'm left with, what can I strategically do with this so that eventually maybe this would turn into this? And that's what happened, my good people. Again, started off as a DBA, right? Save this. This is what the Joneses. This is the Joneses like, you need to spend this to get started on your business. No, you didn't. No, you don't. You don't need to spend this to get started on your business. The people tell you get an LLC, you get a corporation. That's because they want you to give them lots of this. You don't need this to start your business. I started with I wish I had $1 here to represent just how little I started with. And eventually, as I sat back and I did the math and I said, okay, how much am I going to be left with? What can I do? Then once this, I started to reinvest in this, and then it flipped into this because now, as we can see, I'm starting to invest in equipment. I'm starting to build up better things so that I can create better content, so I can put together some. You know, now I have courses out there. Right now I'm building online community. All of this because I started here. This is where I started, and to the point where now we are, where are we at? We are, let me see, here. Yeah, this is it. This is the current setup. That's like, well, literally what I'm looking at right now. Like, you can see that there's a camera, the teleprompter, the multi-screen, the mic, the Rode, the screen deck. I got the one camera here, which is, like I said, the Sony A6400. That is the left cam camera, the main cam. All of that started from less than this. But as I started to reinvest in the business, as I started to grow, then this started to happen. So once we understand that as long as we start and invest in our businesses, as long as we make sure that we're making those sacrifices, that we're not, spending money frivolously, just for whatever reason, trying to keep up with the Joneses. Like, to me, that's the biggest thing, because I've seen businesses go under because they spent more than they had trying to keep up. Forget about it. Just forget about that. Start cheap, do what you need to do, start from the bottom, grow your brand up, and then you'll be there. You'll be the most successful individual. Like, man, I don't even want to get real into it. But I'm just saying, people, that's how you start from the bottom and work your way to the top. Simple as that. Thank you for joining me. I appreciate everybody being here, man. So now I told y'all I had about a good 30 minutes worth of content. It's been going at it for about 45 minutes. For those of you who are here, I appreciate you. Man. So let's see. Now I get to go to some of the comments. Hold on. Let me see who is tapping in with us. Give me a second, fam. Give me a second. How do I view it? Let me see. All right, there we go. We see who's here. Oh, I see everybody new here. What's going on? Hey, Unc, I see you. It's good to see Unc. Unc is in the building, y'all. Mr. Van Hennessy. Everybody said in preaching, can I? Not sure what this one is here. It says, hey, brother, can you pull my? I'm not pull what? Talk to me, Mr. Woods, Mrs. Woods, Crosby Woods. And Mrs. don't want to be there, but definitely pull what there. Boy and Arrow Productions, appreciate the humbleness. Man, I appreciate you saying that, man. I thought I was going to be ashamed one day, but I'm like, we definitely have to keep it real. It wasn't, no, I don't believe nobody, unless you come from a line of wealth, nobody starts the way we see them. Like, even if you look at it from a gym perspective, right? Like, you see people online and they flexing and they doing they buffing, they things like that. They didn't come out the womb like that. It's a process. And I laugh at that, because even when I go to the gym, I put on some of the baggiest clothes I could ever find. Because I don't even want nobody looking at me trying to see, well, how big is he, or how cut is he? It ain't none of your business. I'm here to do something. Like, I'm trying to do as much as I can not to be paid attention to. I'm here for a reason. Like, one day I'll flex on y'all when I finally get my rock body in there. But, I'm cool. I'm cool. Oh, man, look who's in the building, y'all. We got Mr. Create Simple Meals John here. Says, psychologically, if you spend in your business, you'll be compelled to. Absolutely. Hands down on that one. As a matter of fact, let me see. Can I do it?
High five.
Yes, high five on that one. Because the more you invest in your business, you'll definitely want to make it work. You'll be like, man, I put a lot of money into this. It better work. It gotta work, right? But the thing is, put money in your business, not trying to keep up with the Joneses, and you'll be good. You'll definitely be good. Let's see here. It says, I mentioned business education as a tax write-off. Does that apply to your DBA as well? Absolutely, yes. Anything. And that's a great question, boy. Now I'm glad that you mentioned it. High five to you. Anytime you spend any dime on your business, it is deductible. Bottom line. Anything that you spend, I think I'm gonna have to do. We're gonna go live. I'm gonna set a live where we can talk about what's deductible and how deductions work. But yeah, anything that you spend on your business is definitely deductible, okay? And I'm gonna say this, because I've seen people, somebody sent me a clip, right? Like, they sent me a clip, and it was somebody that I respect, humbly. Brother's great, he had millions of followers online. The message that he talks about is more with health and religious and consciousness, but again, he has millions of followers. And apparently this man purchased a Rolls Royce Phantom, I do believe it was, and he paid like $400,000 for it, right? And so and so what happened was, he was trying to justify his spending $400,000. He was like, oh, well, y'all saying y'all mad at me spending $400,000 on the car, how dumb and stupid it is. And technically it's a tax write-off, and you can do this, that, and other. And one of my clients, he sent me the clip, and he's like, is this true? And I'm like, nope. So I'm like, you know what? If you got $400,000 to spend on a car, you ain't got to justify it to nobody. That's the first thing. You know what I'm saying? But then to sit up here and try to say $400,000 is somehow, some way a tax shelter is something completely different. So we definitely maybe, I don't know, y'all got to let me know in the comments too, man. I'm trying different times out for us to go live. If this time works well, Mondays around 3, maybe we can do earlier. Y'all let me know in the comments if this time work out for you. If not, we can always try something else. But definitely we got a lot more things to talk about, a lot more things to get to. So let's see here. Somebody says, Steph the Ruler says, this applies to e-commerce business models. I'm not sure what you're referring to, but if we're talking about deductions and business deductions, absolutely. If that wasn't the question you were asking, please ask again. I'll definitely make sure that I can clarify it. So definitely. Well, I guess, yeah. So Prince Persona said, yeah, definitely. All of what he said does apply to e-commerce. Well, business is business. Yes, Prince Persona, absolutely right. I like that last part. Business is business. No matter what type of industry, no matter what type of business, no matter what type of whatever, if it's a business, it's a business. And because of that, everything that pertains to business applies to it. All right? Oh man, Prince Persona is definitely he doing good tonight. Also learn the difference between a deduction and depreciation and how you can leverage both for future years. Absolutely. And that's one of the things I definitely want to talk about. And when we talk about deductions, because again, social media make a lot of things sound sexy. I think social media is why a lot of people want to keep up with the Joneses. And that's the reason why a lot of people don't really invest in their business. But when we look at social media, they talk about depreciation. Yeah, go buy you a Rolls Royce or go buy you a G-Wagon because it weighs over 6,000 pounds and you can deduct it using a Section 179 bonus depreciation. But kind of like Prince Persona just said, you might not want to take the full depreciation in the first year, because if you're starting at the bottom and you're going to the top, you're going to have income in those future years that you may want to have something to write off against it. And so depreciation can do that. But if you took everything while you were here, then you won't have nothing to write off when you're here. So it's definitely something to watch out for. And we definitely gonna talk about that again. Mr. Prince Persona, I appreciate that. Talking about that. So what is Create Simple Meals talking about here? He says, and often we forget the suffix business, entertainment business, culinary business. Oh, all business. Absolutely. Appreciate John for putting that out there, right? Like if we can put business at the end of it, as he said there, it's a business. Absolutely. Man. So look, I hate to go ahead and end this, man, because as my family, y'all have been good. I appreciate y'all being here. But it is tax season, and I'm just taking a break to come join you live. But I got some clients coming in. Got to get ready for. We got to go ahead and get this popping. But yeah, let me know. Send me messages in the comments if you got value out of this. Y'all know the deal. Make sure that you do everything that it says right there at the bottom, right? Like you make sure that you hit the subscribe button, right? Do all that, the bell. I keep going opposite way, all that good stuff. Do everything it says down there at the bottom. Know that I love y'all and I appreciate y'all being here. And I'm going to go ahead and end it. And don't worry, we got a lot more to talk about, a lot more things to go on. And also remember, shout out to our sponsor, right? The Self-Employed Business Academy. I appreciate them, who is me. Remember, go there, get your free non-LLC business launch plan. It's the business blueprint. You can go get that. It's free. Download it immediately. It's yours, and you'll be good to go. So until then, my good people, know that I love y'all, and I will see y'all on the next one.